Hey, what's up YouTube? Now there are a lot of ways to pay off a mortgage, and there's a lot of people that will tell you they have the best way for you to pay off your mortgage. And I'll be honest with you, the best way to pay off your mortgage is actually the way that makes the most sense for you. But you have to know all the ways in order to pick which one is right. So in this video, I'm going to share with you the way I would pay my mortgage off, and if I decide to pay it off early, how I would do that. I'm going to prove to you that cash is king and not equity. So make sure to watch the whole video so you can see exactly how I do it, and make sure if this is the way you should do it too. My name is Paris Clough, and this is Financial Self-Reliance. On this channel, we talk about the mindsets and the skill sets of the wealthy. We teach you how to manage, protect, and grow your assets. If that sounds like the kind of channel and the kind of community you want to be a part of, go ahead and click like and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the videos that I produce. All right, so I don't know if you're like me or not, but I really like to study etymology. Etymology is the study of the origin of languages and words. So I looked up the word mortgage. The word mortgage comes from the Old French mort, which means dead, and gage, which means pledge. So basically it means dead pledge, which doesn't sound very exciting. So I can see why people want to pay it off as quickly as possible. All right, so let's take a look at this spreadsheet that I created. This is a typical amortization schedule for a mortgage payment. So you can see in the top here, it's a $200,000 loan. Now the average mortgage that a first-time home buyer will get is about $200,000. The average mortgage in America today is right in the neighborhood of $350, maybe $400. But the average first-time home buyer gets a mortgage of about $200,000. So we're gonna start with that as an example. Right now, rates are pretty good. So you see the rate here is 3.5%. So the term is 360 months. 360 months divided by 12 is 30 years. So that's why there's 360 there. And so the monthly payment, now this is just principal and interest. It doesn't include taxes and insurance, which is a different payment. But this is just for principal and interest, $898.09. So you can see that you're going to pay a total of $123,312.18 in interest on top of the $200,000. So the total amount you'll have paid by the end of that mortgage will be $323,312.18. So over here, the beginning balance is $200,000. You make the payment. The interest payment is $583.33. The principal payment is $314.76. And then over here is the ending balance at the end of that month. Then month 2, you can see, and so on and so on. And over here, you see all the months. And this thing scrolls down all the way to 360 months. So at 360 months, your last mortgage payment, here's the balance, that's the payment, this goes to interest, that goes to principal, and you pay that thing off in 360 months. So a lot of people want to pay their mortgage off a little early. So there's things like bi-weekly payments, there's things like adding a little bit of extra payment to the mortgage each month. There's things like just chunking it down. There's a thing called velocity banking, which I actually would probably do if it wasn't for the thing that I'm going to show you that I want to do. So there's a lot of ways for you to pay off your mortgage. For simplicity's sake, let's just pretend that you're going to throw in an additional principal payment every month. If your principal payment is $314.76, let's just round off to $300. So you make $300 additional payment. Now in this particular field over here, you see that if you do that, you'll save yourself about $50,000 in interest, and you'll pay it off in the 230th month. So if we were to scroll down here, you would see that instead of being in the 360th month, in the 230th month, you pay that mortgage off. So 230 months divided by 12 is just over 19 years. So basically, by paying an additional $300 to the mortgage every month, you'll shave off 11 years from your mortgage. That's a pretty good deal. That's pretty exciting. But the problem with that is that once that money goes into the lender, it's stuck in what we call equity jail. The only way to get your equity out is for you to be able to qualify for a loan or a refinance. Now let's say you lost your job. Let's say that you had an emergency come up. Let's say that you needed to have $5,000 or $10,000 for a medical emergency. Would you be able to get access to that equity without a lot of problems? If you lost your job, you're not going to have access to the equity. They won't give you a loan. So equity jail is a real thing. That's why I say and share that cash is king, not equity. Having equity in your house is a great thing. It looks really good on paper and it helps you in your net worth. But having cash on hand does the same thing. In fact, it does the same thing and then gives you additional benefits of having access to cash for emergencies, in case you lose your job. In fact, the last time I checked, the grocery store isn't taking doorknobs as payments for food. That's why cash is king, not equity sitting in your house. Because if you were to have an emergency, the ability to get that money out or get that money back, there's a big barrier to be able to get that money back. Now, a lot of people will say, well, you can get a home equity line of credit, and that's true too, but you're gonna have to, one, have equity, two, you're gonna have to be able to qualify for a loan, and the lender's gonna have to be able to go through all of that to make sure that you qualify. Home equity lines of credits are really good. In fact, I have one on my house. I have a home equity line of credit that sits there just in case. But there's still rules to a home equity line of credit. Like they can change the terms in an environment where there's a crisis or some kind of downturn or crash. After 10 years, usually the equity line is closed and you have to now pay off whatever the balance is and you can't access it anymore. So you don't want to be stuck where you think you have a home equity line of credit only to realize that they've changed the terms, or that 10-year window, or however the window is for the home equity line that you have, is over, and now you can't draw on it because you passed the time. So cash is king, not equity. I can't reiterate that enough. I'm going to prove it to you in a minute. But before I do, I have a question for you. Put a comment below with the answer. What are you doing to pay your mortgage off? Do you want to pay it off early? Or are you satisfied with paying it off over that 30-year period? All right, are you ready? Here it is. The best way to pay off your mortgage is with one single payment when you write one check and pay it off completely. Now let me show you what I mean. All right, now I want to share with you this spreadsheet here. This is an investment spreadsheet. So let's say instead of taking that $300 and putting it onto your mortgage and getting it locked up in equity jail, that you took that same $300 and you invested it in the market and you earned 6%. Now 6% is really conservative. In fact, most people will tell you that they're earning 7 and 8% in the market, which would even make this better than what I'm going to show you. But I'm going to show you 6% because 6% is very realistic and is very possible. So I have two columns here. One column shows the year. So at the end of year 1, you'd have $3,700. And this column over here shares the month. By the end of month 2, you would have $1.50 in interest and $600. The reason why I'm sharing this with you is because when you have interest working for you, the interest rate you're earning is going to help you get to your goal faster. So you're going to have compound interest working in your favor to help you against the compound interest that is on your mortgage. Because the mortgage interest is 3.5% and your investment interest is 6%. The difference between those two is what's working in your favor to help you get to your goal faster. You're using money wisely to build wealth for yourself, not wealth for the mortgage company, not wealth for the lenders. You're building wealth for yourself. That's called being financially self-reliant. All right, let's take a look. You can see after 10 years, you've got $50,000. After 20 years, you have $138,000. After 30 years, you have $301,000 in your investment account. So let me ask you a question. If after 30 years, you're gonna pay your mortgage off, and after 30 years, you could have $301,000, wouldn't you wanna have both of those things? Wouldn't you wanna have both the house paid off and $300,000? Comment both in the comments down below if you would rather have both the house paid for and $300,000. Now, if you remember from this spreadsheet, it says that you would have this paid off in 230 months if you were to pay an additional $300 a month to it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna zero this out so that you can see the numbers here. So this is back to the normal amortization of the loan. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you something here. If you scroll down, and I did this earlier so that I didn't have to do it in front of you. But if you scroll down here and look at 209 months, at 209 months, you have a balance of $109,562.51. Now, if you remember, if you pay the $300 a month, it was gonna pay off the mortgage in 230 months. So I'm sharing with you at 209 months, you're gonna have this balance of $109,562. Now let's take a look at what your balance is in your investment account after 209 months. So in the investment account, let's scroll down to that. If we scroll down to 209 months on the investment account, what do you know? You have $110,160.27. In 209 months, you can write a check and pay your mortgage off. And you're literally paying it off 21 months earlier than you would have paid it had you put the money into the mortgage. So instead of trapping that money in equity jail, you've had that money now in an investment account that has been growing for you with interest working in your favor. Now the reality is you don't even have to write the check at this point. You're even. Your net worth is zero on this mortgage. So your loan of $109,000 is equal to or less than the assets that you own in investments, which is liquid assets. So not only could you sell your house and pay off the mortgage and be fine, but you also have liquid assets that you can write a check and pay off your mortgage and be fine. So if the mortgage company ever came knocking and said, we want our money right now, you could say, no problem, here's the check, and you hand it over. See, when you're using money like this, you're using money wisely. This is how the wealthy manage their money. Now make sure that they're using debt wisely. As long as your assets are equal to or greater than your debts or your loans, then you're leveraging your money so that you can have liquidity and you can have access to that cash in case anything comes up. Let's say you wanted to start up a business, or let's say there was another investment that was coming along. Or let's say there was another property that you could get into and have rental properties. And heaven forbid, let's say something negative happened where you had to pull $100,000 to pay for a medical expense or a bill. You would have the money. If you lost your job and you have $110,000 sitting in the account and your mortgage is only $900, how many months can you pay your mortgage with your assets without having to worry? How many months can you pay for food with $110,000 and not have to worry? How many months can you pay for whatever you need to pay for and not have to worry if you have $110,000 cash sitting in your account that you could literally write a check for and pay off your mortgage and be completely debt-free? See, the name of the game is cash flow. Besides cash flow, the next name of the game is positive net worth. And positive net worth comes when your assets exceed your liabilities. Liabilities are debts and loans. Now, loans that are collateralized, like a house, like a mortgage, like a car, those are loans that you can use to leverage and make wise financial decisions. Consumer loans, credit card debt, purchasing crazy stuff, yeah, that's the debt you want to get rid of. There's no leveraging there. That's the kind you want to get rid of right away. But mortgage debt is leveraged debt. It's a loan. And if you're using it to your advantage, you can take that $300 and you can invest it at 6%. Let's say you invested it at 7 or 8 or 9%. If you got a better rate of return, you're going to be able to pay this house off way faster. You're going to have cash on hand and you're going to be in a position of power because somebody with savings, somebody with cash has the ability to choose. You're in control. You have the ability to choose what happens in your life because you have all the assets, all the resources necessary that whatever comes at you, you can handle it. If your mortgage company wants their money, you can handle it. If you have an emergency, you can handle it. If you have an opportunity, you can handle it. Cash is king, not equity. I hope that I've given you enough evidence to realize that cash is king, not equity. And just to prove a point, in my personal Webull account, I'm a dividend investor there, and I'm earning over 5% just from dividends. That doesn't include the value as my stock is growing. So I highly recommend that while you're in the description below, you click the link to open a Webull account. And if you fund that account with $100, you're gonna get 2 free stocks. And those 2 free stocks could be valued up to $1,850. Imagine if you had $1,850 to start off and kickstart your growth towards being able to pay off your mortgage. I hope you now have another way to pay off your mortgage so that as you're making a decision with which way you're going to choose to pay off your mortgage, you can add this to the list and you can do what's best for you and your family and your situation. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.